Oh snap, we styling on them today. Hi, it's your girl, Dezzi Pixels. I am a freelance illustrator and I help artists find clients and build businesses online. Today we are going to talk about 5 tips to find your style and to be more marketable as an artist. So without any further ado, let's get started. Now, before we get into the tips, we're just going to cover a few reasons why having a style is important in the first place. Because in a constantly changing market, you will see a lot. The different type of styles that people gravitate towards and likes tends to change fairly often and frequently. So what I'm going to teach you in this video is how to identify those trends, identify what styles are working, and how to be able to improve and evolve your style to match the market that you're trying to break into. So for the first tip, research and study other artists in your niche. So when you're over here looking and examining the other artists and things in your niche, you want to take notes on a couple of the following. Keep notes on what type of styles do you see? How do they use their shape language? Are they boxy geometric shapes, or do they use a lot of curved, flowy, linear type shapes? You'll see this a lot when you go between different portraitures and cartoon type of styles that you'll see on the internet. You also want to pay attention to the type of subject matter that you see these artists work on. A lot of the time, the subject matter might have to do more about the current climate than you realize, so you want to start creating a nice database of all this information so you can reference it when you're trying to tweak your approach. You also want to pay attention to what type of audience is that artist cultivating. You want to see the type of people who are engaging in their work and how they are engaging with it. All of this is part of what's called your market research. So you want to make sure that you're going in there and you're really paying attention to the audience as well as the content that the artists are producing. Because you don't want to spend most of your time reinventing the wheel when you can see what's working right now and make an approach that more directly hits what your audience is actually needing and what your audience is looking for. Next, for number 2, you want to take what you learned in the last section and mix and match those styles to experiment. Now, when going and doing your market research in the first section of what we talked about, you want to take what you learned and you want to start getting practical knowledge of that. So you want to start trying to practice those styles, incorporate those styles into what you're doing. You want to copy those artists. And when I say copy those artists, I mean to learn frameworks and the principles behind what they're doing. Don't take their work, copy it, and post it. That's plagiarism. Don't do that. Only villains do that. You only want to use the work that you copy as a tool for yourself to learn what they're doing. Now, when you take and mix and match the different styles, that's where you're going to start to create your own amalgamation of a new visual language. This is why you mix and match in the beginning, because the thing is, there is nothing new created under the sun. The thing that is new and unique that's going to come from you is the different combinations of ideas and approaches that you absorb from, like, just living on this planet and whatnot. Next, for number 3, now you want to test the techniques that you practiced last time and see what your audience responds to. So this is crucially important. After you do all this research and you make all these hypotheses, and then you go and experiment and make your different types of styles and combinations, you want to see what people are responding to, especially your audience. So when you go, you want to have metrics that you're tracking. So like we talked about, and what we mostly talk about on here is online. So if you're posting your work to your social media and doing your campaign like we talked about before, you want to compare your engagement. What type of styles and things do you see being clicked on more? Where do you see more likes? Where do you see more comments? This is going to be important because, again, like what we talked about before, you want to make sure you double down on what works and take the time to really hone that in, because this is going to be the bedrock of a lot of what you do later when you're morphing and evolving your business. Next, for number 4, Be aware of the events that change the zeitgeist of your niche. So what I mean by this is, if you're an artist that works in the fantasy or sci-fi genre, you need to be aware of what's going on in the sci-fi and genre space. Now, what I mean by that is, if there's a big fantasy movie coming out or a big property that's getting a lot of buzz, you need to take a look at that and see how the algorithm and all the trends are accumulating on your metrics. So if you're using things like Google Trends or Google Analytics, you need to start searching. Oh, okay, I know. Let's take, for example, a new Lord of the Rings movie is coming out for the umpteenth time. So you want to see what people are looking up on that. Are they looking up hobbits more? Are they looking up fantasy stuff more? Middle Earth stuff? You want to be there, and you need to know those, because that's how you're going to capitalize and be trendy and part of the conversation, and that's what's going to get you in a lot more eyes than a lot of other people. So, and this is also very important when it comes to your style, because if you're seeing what's going on in your market and niche, and you can use your style to jump on that, that can add a lot of eyes to your work, and it can really help you define a style that works for you. And for number 5, focus on appeal more than style. Now, I know this whole video is talking about how to take the different metrics and all of that and weave it together to make your style. But you need to know what the purpose of a style is. The purpose of a style is to appeal to your audience. Now, can you develop a specific style just to speak to yourself as an artist? Yes, definitely. However, if you're trying to put together a business or try to put together a new style that you're trying to market with, there are certain market norms and things that you need to be aware of. However, what the style main goal is to be appealing. Because no matter how unique or out there your style is, if nobody likes it, if it doesn't appeal to anyone, it's a failure for a style for your business. This is important because you've probably seen, especially with a lot of beginning artists, when you look at their work and it doesn't look like it's of professional quality, you might heard the say, well, it's my style, that's just how I like to do it. I'm gonna give you some hard advice. If everyone is telling you your style is bad, it's a bad style, throw it away, learn to do something better. Because if you're trying to do this as income, as trying to put a roof over your head, you need to know what people will actually be willing to give you money for. And if you want to take those and experiment on your own and then make fine art pieces like that and have shows and gallery openings, that's a different type of market. However, if you're trying to be a commercial artist, being aware of trends and what styles work is imperative to knowing what's appealing and what will attract your audience. And with all that, we come to the end. Thanks for joining me this week where we talked about style. We'll continue our talk in this vein in the next week, and again, you all have a great one. So this has been your girl, Dezzi Pixels, and I'm out, bitches. Have a good one. Be safe. Bye.